coming in at number 16 is Zven from G2 Esports. Officially, I have him ranked 17th, Deficio 18th, the hater. Spawn is 16th for this guy. Zven and Mithy, to me, I had a really hard time breaking them up. Spectacular player. We'll start with Spawn because technically he had him ranked highest at 16.
Yeah, and I have a love story with Zven because last year I came into Worlds not very high on the team as an overall, and then he had a very breakout performance. And I think that this guy, he's the future of Western AD carries for me. He is so ridiculously good, humble, pretty intelligent when I speak to him as well. So, he's got everything going, and he plays everything as well. So, he's got the hyper carries in his back pocket, plays very good utility, great landing phase, great team fight. Honestly, the only thing that I could fault Zven on is the fact that I just need to see him do it for longer. If he continues his success over, 2, 3, 4 years, getting into the future, he's going to rocket up my list at least because I'm a massive fan.
So definitely a big fan as well of my.
Wouldn't seem like it, man. 18?
I know he's down at 18. I know that. So I actually put 2 supports above him, Mithy being one of them, because of what Mithy brings to G2 as a team. Zven is the carry though you can trust, both in Europe but also when they play against international teams. Worlds last year was where he showed that he's good enough to rival some of the absolute best top laners and bot lanes in the world, and now he's up there with them as well after having another year. So I think this guy is insanely gifted. My critique of Zven though, and it's an old double lift habit almost, is actually this thing where he does get caught inside lanes a bit. He does tunnel vision quite a lot. I can see you really want to say something.
You told me that was Mithy's fault, Akash. You said that Mithy needs to call it back.
Exactly. Like there's this running joke basically where Mithy has to kind of control Zven around, and Zven just says like, guys, I'm just looking, lock camera, I'm just looking at the wave.
You had Mithy at 16.
I know. Yeah, Mithy should micromanage him as well. But no, I think Zven, like, again, the issue for him, I called an issue, it happens so rarely, is the fact, he tunnels a lot on himself, his own individual performance here, and when he then overextends a little bit in the lane, he can get punished. But I think that's a very small critique, and it's the only reason I have him lower, honestly, is because I think as an AD carry, if you're really good alone, that's great. If you're as a supporter, fantastic, but also helps the team, I put that slightly higher.
And I just want to jump in a little bit. I still think he's a spectacular player. I think his mechanics are incredible. I think the fact that he can play the supportive AD carries as well as the carry AD carries, seemingly at a super high level. Laning phase is great. He transitions into team fights. And it's actually kind of unfair of me to do this because like I have him still really high on the list, but it's hard for me to support Zven, to separate Zven from Mithy. Because both of those guys have been so good. Mithy's been doing it with a lot of different AD carries over time, and how much of this is because of Mithy's dominance in vision control and laning. You can't actually fault him for that, which is why I still have him as a top 20 player at Worlds and number 17 overall. But if there's one thing that prevents him from like jumping really high on that for me, it's, to Spawn's point, he hasn't done it for a super long time, and also it's hard to separate his success from Mithy's success.
I think that's fair. I mean, for me, I'm just looking at the individual player. I'm looking at a guy who, dominates in Europe, wins losing matchups in Europe. Again, that's obviously against European bottom lanes, but then also at Worlds last year. Origin was basically built around Zven and Mithy, and they were like, okay, let's go late game every time and protect Zven, and then he will carry, and he did. So that's why I think this guy, is so good. I still have a few, issues. Maybe that's experience, as you guys talk about. He's still a very young player, but he definitely has the potential to become one of the absolute best AD carries in the world.
Absolutely. Number 16 on our list, the 5th ranked AD carry here on our top 20 list. That'll do it for Zven.